Is Africa truly free, or is the illusion of independence masking the West's continued control over the continent? This is the burning question on the minds of many Africans today, as more and more people wake up to the reality that political sovereignty may not be all it seems. The recent bold steps taken by Burkina Faso's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to reject puppet alliances controlled by the West have sent ripples across Africa. Could this mark the dawn of a new era, where the continent finally asserts itself free from foreign domination? Or is it yet another false start? In this video, we will explore the implications of Burkina Faso's defiance, the formation of an African confederation with Mali and Niger, and how these nations are setting the stage for a broader movement. This journey isn't just about Burkina Faso, it's about Africa as a whole. Let's dive into the heart of Africa's ongoing struggle for real independence. Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't make this decision lightly. His bold move is rooted in a deep historical context that stretches back to colonial times, when France and other Western powers brutally exploited their African colonies. While political control officially ended decades ago, economic manipulation has persisted through mechanisms like the CFA franc, a currency controlled by the French treasury. This currency has kept countries like Burkina Faso economically dependent on their former colonial rulers. Western powers, particularly France, have masterfully created a system where African nations remain dependent through the clever use of financial aid, loans, and military support. These seemingly helpful interventions come with strings attached, conditions that keep African nations economically weak and unable to challenge their former masters. The narrative often pushed by Western institutions is simple: Africa cannot survive without Western aid expertise and governance models. But this is a fallacy, a lie that leaders like Traoré are now rejecting. Burkina Faso's decision to cut these puppet ties is about much more than national pride. It's about reclaiming Africa's sovereignty and right to determine its own destiny. However, we must ask ourselves, how long will Africans continue to allow outsiders to dictate their future under the guise of aid and support? The sad truth is that many African leaders are complicit in their nation's continued subjugation. Over time, they have become accustomed to living luxuriously off Western aid and aligning with foreign powers for personal gain. Breaking away from this system terrifies them because they fear losing not just their political power, but the wealth that comes with it. The recent announcement of the Confederation between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger signals something much greater than a rejection of Western influence. It marks the potential rebirth of Pan-Africanism. These three nations, coming together in defiance of the old order, are not just breaking free from the West. They are setting an example for the rest of Africa. For the first time in a long time, Africa could be seeing the beginning of a united movement towards self-determination, resource sharing, and cooperation without Western interference. This confederation could be the key to unlocking Africa's true potential, one that has long been kept dormant by external forces. Imagine a united Africa negotiating trade deals with global powers as a single bloc, wielding influence that 54 fragmented states could never achieve alone. The potential is vast, but so are the risks. The West will not stand by and watch this confederation rise without a fight. Economic sanctions, destabilization efforts, and even military intervention are real possibilities as the West seeks to maintain its control over the continent. Leaders like Traoré, however, seem ready to face these challenges head-on. But the question remains, will other African nations have the courage to follow Burkina Faso's example? or will they continue to fear the consequences of defiance? While Burkina Faso and its allies are rejecting Western aid and influence, they are also looking to alternative partners like China to help forge a new path. China's model of cooperation has proven successful in regions across the globe, and its willingness to invest in Africa without imposing the same heavy-handed political conditions as the West makes it an attractive partner. For example, one of Africa's greatest challenges has been its inability to industrialize due to weak infrastructure, particularly in the energy sector. Burkina Faso, like many other African countries, faces frequent power outages, which stifles industrial development. China, with its history of rapid industrialization, is now stepping in to help Africa develop its energy infrastructure, providing not just financing but also expertise to build power plants and other critical infrastructure. In contrast to Western aid, which often comes with conditions that undermine African sovereignty, China's approach is more cooperative. It provides the tools for industrialization without the exploitative tactics the West has used for decades, and this has enormous implications for Africa's future. While the road to industrialization is long, Africa's potential is enormous. What the continent needs now is political will and visionary leadership. Leaders like Ibrahim Traoré and the Confederation of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are showing that change is possible. However, industrialization cannot succeed without broader economic integration. The African Continental Free Trade Area, or AFCFTA, was meant to be a game changer, designed to eliminate trade barriers and promote the free movement of people and goods across Africa. But internal divisions and external interference have slowed its progress. The Confederation formed by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger could be the catalyst for deeper cooperation across Africa. However, African unity has long been elusive due to deep-rooted divisions along ethnic, linguistic, and political lines, many of which were deliberately fostered by colonial powers. The West benefits from a fragmented Africa, as it is easier to manipulate small divided nations than to challenge a united, powerful continent. But now, with the Confederation's example, the potential for Africa to unite is once again within reach. Imagine an Africa negotiating with China, the EU, or the United States as a united bloc, a powerful force on the global stage, finally free from the puppet strings of the West. The Confederation of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger may be the first step toward a new era for Africa. But it raises important questions. Will the rest of Africa follow this bold move? Will African leaders be courageous enough to reject puppet alliances and forge a path toward true independence? This moment is critical for the future of the continent. If more African nations can summon the political will and courage to break free from the cycle of dependency, the potential for progress is limitless. But if fear and division continue to dominate, Africa will remain shackled to the past, forever reliant on foreign powers to dictate its future. The younger generation of Africans connected through technology and social media understands this. They are pushing for change, for a united, independent Africa that can harness its own resources and determine its own destiny. Will these voices be enough to shift the political class toward a more unified vision for the continent? As we reflect on the bold steps taken by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, it's clear that Africa stands at a critical crossroads. The confederation these nations have formed could signal a new dawn for the continent, a step away from the dependency that has hindered Africa's progress for decades. But it also raises one fundamental question. Will other African nations be brave enough to stand up against Western control and embrace the possibilities of self-reliance and unity? While the challenges are significant, the stakes have never been higher. The path forward requires not only visionary leadership, but also a collective shift in how African nations perceive their role on the global stage. No longer should Africa accept the narrative that it cannot survive without the West. As Captain Ibrahim Traoré and the leaders of Mali and Niger have shown, the key to real progress lies in Africa's own hands, through collaboration, resource sharing, and a bold rejection of foreign control. But it's not just about leadership at the top. The growing influence of Africa's younger generation provides hope. Connected by mobile technology, social media, and a renewed sense of Pan-Africanism, these young Africans understand that their future depends on breaking free from old systems of dependency. They are calling for an Africa that is united, self-sufficient, and capable of standing on its own 2 feet in the global arena. This push for unity, however, must overcome numerous obstacles, most notably the entrenched political class that has long been beholden to foreign powers. Many African leaders continue to prioritize their own wealth and political power over the well-being of their nations, preferring to align with Paris, Washington, or London rather than work toward a collective African future. The Confederation between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger represents a beacon of hope in this landscape, but it is also a fragile experiment. While it has the potential to inspire other African nations to join the movement, it is also vulnerable to external sabotage. The West will not relinquish its control over Africa without a fight. Propaganda, economic sanctions, and military intervention are all tools that could be used to destabilize this fragile union. Yet, the leaders of this confederation are prepared. They understand the risks, but are determined to chart a new course. They are looking toward alternative partners like China, whose investments come without the heavy political conditions that the West imposes. Through partnerships with nations that respect African sovereignty, these countries are building the infrastructure they need to thrive, without begging for handouts from former colonial powers. As Africa moves toward industrialization, it must focus on leveraging its own resources, building its own industries, and investing in its people. Industrialization doesn't happen overnight, but with strong leadership, Africa can begin to break free from its cycle of underdevelopment. One of the most significant steps Africa can take is full economic integration. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, provides a framework for this vision, but internal divisions have slowed its progress. The Confederation of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger offers a glimpse into what could be possible if African nations unite with a common purpose. Together, they can challenge the global power structures that have kept the continent divided and weak for so long. The future of Africa is in the hands of its people. The time has come to decide whether the continent will continue to allow external forces to dictate its path, or whether it will rise to the occasion and claim its rightful place as a global power. The steps taken by Ibrahim Traoré and his allies are a call to action, not just for African leaders, but for all Africans. Will we embrace the opportunity for real independence, or will we allow fear and division to hold us back? Let us know in the comments below. Do you think Africa is finally ready to break free from Western control and forge its own future? If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on more content covering African culture, history, and the ongoing struggle for self-determination. Join us as we continue to uncover stories that aren't just history, but the roadmap to Africa's future. Until the next video, thank you for watching, and remember, Africa's future lies in the hands of those bold enough to claim it.